How are we doing? Happy weekend. Thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's Ask for Your Precious Friday. Hello, dear friends. How are we doing? How has our week been? How is it going generally? How far with all the New Year resolutions? I hope we started implementing them. And I believe that one of the New Year resolution this year is to pay off your debts if you're owing any, or stay absolutely debt free in your personal and business life. It's a very hard one to crack, but with the right procedure, the right guidelines, the right decisions and lifestyle, you will definitely get there. Hi everyone, my name is Precious Toju, aka the Structure Lady, aka Queen of Debt Recovery. I'm a debt recovery lawyer, insolvency practitioner, a credit risk analyst, attorney mediator, and a debt recovery and credit risk coach. So basically, what I do is to help businesses and finance providers fix debt issues and avoid credit risk in business. Welcome to the second edition of the Ask for Your Precious Friday show. Hi, where I respond to some questions that may have been asked during the week or on my YouTube channel or just in the comment section. I just respond to questions generally. However, this month, because I have a webinar that is coming up next week, Sunday, I'm still going to talk about the webinar after today's talk. I am mostly talking on things that relate to the webinar and why the webinar is even holding in the first place. So before I go right into it, um, one of the things that I love to do is I love to teach people, businesses, how they can independently tackle debt issues. Okay? So that at the end of the day, they will be able to lead a debt free life and run a business that is absolutely debt free. Now, I do all of these things through my legal services, legal training, and coaching program. And this Ask for Your Precious show is one of the legal, will I call it training or legal talk? And it will help you understand certain things. So today, the second edition, I want to particularly talk about three things that can happen to you when you remain unreachable or when you are unreachable in doing debt recovery process. Okay, so let's take that again. Three things that can happen when you are unreachable doing debt recovery. Three things that can happen when you are unreachable doing debt recovery. Okay, so some people will say, what if my phone is not going? What if I change my line? What if? All of those questions, I'm going to respond to them as I talk about the topic. So stay with me. 12:30 max will be out of here because I try to limit my conversation for the Ask for Your Precious show. So if you have any question while I'm doing my presentation, please drop it in the comment section. I will respond to it once I'm done. And if you want to come live with me to ask any question, just send me an invite, whether on Instagram or Facebook. I will accept your invite and then you ask your question so that everybody can learn from it. All right, so three things that can happen when you are unreachable doing debt recovery. So the first thing is, what exactly is debt recovery? So generally, everybody understands or know that debt recovery is the process in which that pursuing a debtor to pay what he or she is owing. But I have redefined it. I cannot be queen of debt recovery for nothing. I have redefined debt recovery to mean a process in which a creditor or lender recover that which he is owed, and also the debtor recover from what he is owing. So, in other words, by my definition, debt recovery is two sides of a coin. It's not just one sided. While the creditor or the lender seeks to get what he has been owed, the debtor should be seeking or seeks to be relieved from his or her debts. Okay? So, what this means by my definition is, while the creditor or whoever loaned you money, whether it's an individual loan or a bank loan or a business loan or a company loan, what this means is, while the creditor or the lender is looking for means, exploring means in which he or it meaning maybe a bank, a finance provider, a company, exploring means on how to recover the money that you are owing. Instead of you as a debtor to be looking for how to hide and run away from your financial responsibilities, you should also be looking for means of paying the debts. Because debt recovery is not one sided. If you pay off your debts, what you owe to a creditor or a lender or a bank or a finance provider, you yourself, you'll be relieved of the debts that you are owing. And so that is why, by my definition, debt recovery is two sided. A creditor seeks to recover that which is owed to him or it, if it's an organization, and the debtor seeks to be relieved or be recovered from being a debtor. All right. So, why, as we have settled that, let's move to the next question or talk. When exactly does debt recovery arise? So, I have a community of victims of loan defamation, and I hear some of them say, my due date had not elapsed. They had sent messages to the public. Now, if you did not know, debt recovery can only commence when the time they have given you or the time frame agreed to by both parties has elapsed, has expired. That is only when debt recovery process commence. So let's take, for example, you took a loan from me and your due date when you're supposed to pay the loan and the interest is on the 30th of this month, January 2024. I cannot by now commence a debt recovery process against you. It's wrong. It's even illegal. But what I can do is to send you reminders to say, please remember that your debt will be due on the 30th. Please remember to pay. I can also put there, early payments can attract less percent this interest, less that. But I cannot institute a debt recovery or commence a debt recovery process against you. A reminder and a debt recovery process are two different things. So debt recovery process, arise or come to play when the date you have been given or you agreed to pay back your loan has elapsed. Hmm? And that's not all. And then you become unreachable or you don't even make any attempts. Debt recovery process will commence. So, what are the factors that trigger debt recovery? So, let me read from my Okay, so let me read from my notes here. I said, so debt recovery process cannot legally and by standard practice of debt recovery take place when the agreed date has not elapsed and the debt remains unpaid. Okay, so what are the factors that trigger debt recovery? Unpaid outstanding, payment due date has elapsed, and grace period has also elapsed. So you know that for those of you that take loan from finance providers, you have the due date and you have the grace period. The due date is different from the grace period, and there's something that triggers grace period. It's one of the things I'm going to discuss during the debt free webinar. So, where your due date has elapsed and even your grace period has elapsed and you have not made payments, debt recovery process will commence against you. The last thing that trigger, the last factor that trigger debt recovery, which is very, very important, is when the debtor is unreachable or is not communicating, which is what I want to center on today. You are not reachable and you are not communicating. Now, what does it mean to be unreachable? Because when I'm doing debt restructuring section for some people, that those that are owing, I hear them say, "Oh, I changed my SIM card, or this my emails is no longer active. Maybe that is where they sent the mail to, or that's the line that they called and they could not reach me." Now let me explain to you legally and in debt recovery practice what it means to be unreachable. One, you're not responding to demands. You're not responding to your debt payment demands. So your creditor, your lender, or the agent or the lawyers reach out to you and you ignore. You call all the bullshit in quotes. That is what it means to be unreachable. To be unreachable also means you are not reaching out. So it's two ways. They reach out to you, you are not responding, and you are not responding as well. So if you did change your SIM card and you know that you have some financial obligation, are you not supposed to have informed your creditor or debtor that I can no longer be reachable via this line, except if you want to play hanky panky? Your email is now inactive. Why don't you reach out to them to tell them, "Oh, my email that you used to reach me with is no longer active. This is the one I'm using." So unreachable means you are not responding to debt recovery demands and you are not also reaching out. Unreachable means that you just don't want them to disturb you. Now, the red and bad side of being unreachable. What are the red flags that your unreachable conduct waves? What are the bad signals that this your inability for your creditor or your lender to reach you, what does it really mean? Firstly, it means that you are not willing and ready to pay your debts. So not willing and not ready are two different things. You can be willing, but you don't have the finance. And you can be ready and you are not willing. There are two different things in debt recovery, and there's a way we analyze it. So when you become unreachable, you don't respond to demands and you are not also reaching out. You just remain incommunicado. You just remain on your own space. You don't want anybody to reach you. It means in debt recovery that you are not ready and willing to pay your debts. It also means that you are irresponsible. You know why? Because when you were applying for that loan, if it is a bank loan or a money lending kind of money or whatever, when you were applying, you were looking at your phone 247. When they send you mail, you respond to it immediately because what? You were looking for something. And so now you have gotten the money, your due date has elapsed, your grace period has even expired, and you are not reaching out and you are not responding to them. It just triggers. It's a red signal that you are an irresponsible debtor. Every debtor is not the same. There are some debtors that are actually responsible. Yeah, okay, Mr. Effion wants to come live. I think I've added you. Oh, this person was unable to join because of technical issues. Please, Mr. Emmanuel Effion on Facebook, you can send in your request. I will add you. I'll soon round up so that I can start taking questions. It also means that you have breached a contract. So I needed to break this down so that we can understand what unreachable means in law and in debt recovery practice or process. It means that you have breached a contract. You have not paid, you have breached a contract. You have not responded to that demand, you have breached a contract. You are not reaching out, you have breached a contract. Okay, so it means that it could also mean that you are at large, you have absconded, and you are on the run. And that is why I tell people that yes, loan transaction is a contract. It's a civil matter. It's a civil relationship. However, Mr. Amanda, I can't still add, I don't know why. They say it's technical issue. However, your conduct, your character, your body language can move that civil transaction to a criminal one. So when you are unreachable, you don't respond to demands, and you are not reaching out, it can be assumed that you have absconded with the money, that you are at large. Those are criminal words, and or that you are on the run. Because, for example, they go to where you're living, they can find you. They go to your office, they say you no longer work there. Your phone numbers are not going through. Your emails are bouncing back, or there is no response. It simply means you are on the run. You have absconded. You have jackpot with people's money. That is what unreachable means. Oh, goodness me, I didn't put this on silent. My apologies. That is what it means. Now, there's so many things it means, but let me just round up by saying that it also means that you are not, you're not yielding to your financial responsibility. So as a debtor, you have a legal protection. Okay? You also have a legal duty, and you have legal liabilities. So when you come out to say that they have defamed you, which I am not supporting, what led to that defamation? So let's move. Okay, so I want to quickly talk about categories of debt recovery processes. So you have the internal debt recovery process, you have the external debt recovery process, and this internal, external, I really break it down in my course, Build a Debt Free Business. I broke it down for people that businesses that want to try internal debt recovery processes for. So what are the things you should do? What does it mean? What are the steps you should take? What are the documentation you should put in place? But what basically debt recovery is in two category by my own classification, internal and external. So when external debt recovery process takes place, it means that the person that you are owing has escalated debt recovery. So there are different stages in debt recovery escalation. You have the stage one of escalation, stage two escalation, you have the stage three, which is the last severe escalation debt recovery process. All right, so what are the three major things that can really happen to you when you are unreachable in debt recovery? You can be disqualified credit wise. And what does that mean? You can be blacklisted as being credit unworthy. So some people don't understand. When we talk about credit worthiness, some people feel, does that even happen in Nigeria? Some of you are wondering why some people will apply for visa and they will just deny them visa. My brother and my sister, some people have blacklisted you that you're not credit worthy with their evidences. You may be wondering why you've been applying for a particular grant. Everybody is getting, your business is, and you are not getting. Somebody has blacklisted you. Standard corporate entities have a platform that they use to check these things. You're wondering why you're applying for a particular loan and you are not getting it. Somebody has blacklisted you. So that is one thing that can be done. You can be disqualified for getting credit. And this can trigger a lot of things. Disqualification can even be sent to your boss, can be sent to your employers. It can be sent to your business partners. A lot of you do not know these things. Another thing that can happen to you during debt recovery process if you remain unreachable is you can be petitioned. Remember I talked about being at large, being on the run, what is absconding, obtaining by false pretense. Yes, those things can come up. You've not seen people that they say, I want to produce this calendar. I have 100,000 demands, and you apply to the bank. By the way, our calendar is lovely, right? You can pick your copy. We have free copies. You can pick your copy from our head office if you are in Lagos, Nigeria. you can come and pick your copy from our office. Just look at Living Places so to see our office address. And if you're not in Lagos or you're not in Nigeria and you love to have a copy of our 2024 calendar, you can click the link in Living Spring Solicitors, that's the law firm's bio, and you can download your free copy. Let me do small ads now. No, I'm not supposed to do ads. I'm a lawyer. So you said, for example, you want to produce this, that you have 100 ready markets, and the bank gives you the loan, and you use it to do something else. Maybe use it to japa, or you use it to cruise, or do something else. You diverted the funds. That is obtaining by false pretense. If they are to bring it against you criminally. Okay? So you can be petitioned, and it's not only the police. EFCC can be involved. The crime specialist, fraud specialist can be involved, and you don't want to know the stress, the the problem that involves you being petitioned. I'm going to really analyze it rather in the debt-free webinar. The last thing that can happen to you, this is just for three. There are other things that can happen. I'm just like saying top on the list, is that you can be, sued. So when we talk about lawsuits, some people just like, is it not Nigeria judiciary? For those of us that are in Nigeria, is it not because in other clients, in other jurisdiction, once you say I want to sue you, people sit up on their feet, on their toes rather. They sit up to that responsibility. So a lot of us, because we're in Nigeria, is it not lawsuits? This one, that one, we will drag it. There is no problem. You can be sued. And mind you, evidence of your lawsuits can be registered with the credit bureau, with embassies, with anybody. Why am I even leaking all these secrets? A lot of you do not know that. A lot of you do not also know that no matter how long you do it, people, if for example I have 8 more minutes left. So if for example you judgment is given against you, it's not just that judgment, you're going to pay compensation and damages. I used to tell people, instead of you saying my lawyer will defend me, my lawyer will defend you for a contract that you clearly breach, why don't you negotiate? Because what you are going to pay at the end of the day is much more. For example, your petition at the police, are you going to go alone? You are going to go with a lawyer. You are going to pay that lawyer, right? And are you going to leave the Nigerian police station without dropping money? So all of this is something that you could have prevented and just negotiate. Now, let me drop this as a bonus. Another thing that can happen when you become unreachable during debt recovery is that they can come after your surety and your guarantor in your place. And do you know what that does? You see, I watch a movie. Okay, I think it is a tribe called Judah. And the guy was like, the security that wanted to japa, for those of you that have seen that movie, security that wanted to japa said, I wish somebody can just give me loan. I will just japa. And the other colleague now said, so if you not japa, maybe they will come after your shorty. Say, which go punish shorty. Which is my own? Did I tell them to stand shorty? I will have japa. Some people are like that. Now, let me tell you what that does in the credit world. It makes it very hard for people to even stand shorty for you. If not for you, for any other person. So imagine that I stood as shorty for somebody, maybe for 5 million, and the person ran away with the money. I have to pay through my nose, or I am arrested, or I am the one that is taken to court to pay. Do you think that I will ever in my life stand as shorty for anybody? Even if you come and say, I have a dying child, I have gotten this loan, I just need you to say, I will not, because I've had a bad experience. So it pollutes the credit industry. It pollutes the minds of people. You should care about somebody that cared about you so much, stand shorty for you in a loan transaction. So one of the things that can happen is they can come after you. And not just your shorty, your next of kin. These loan apps, you put next of kin, they will come after your next of kin. Would you want that? Would you want your spouse to be exposed, your child to be exposed to all those things? Your whoever stood as next of kin or whoever. Some people will even write their spouse. Their spouse will not even know that, that they had used their name to take loan. Oh goodness. All right. So let me just quickly talk about reasons why debtors, remain unreachable during debt recovery, or why they hide from the creditors or those that they are owing. Let me quickly run it. I have 5 more minutes. Lack of means to pay. Truth be told, some debtors really do not have the means to pay this money, and some do have, but they are diverting the money for other things. That is a different ball game entirely. But one of the major reason a lot of debtors hide away from people that are owing or become unreachable is because they lack the means to pay. Another reason is because of fear. They're just like, hey, what will happen to me if they arrest me, if they take me to court, if they now know my house, if they now come together. Last year, somebody send me some loan defamation stuff and all of that. She said she was even leaving her house for Christmas. She's just going to go and hide somewhere. Those things are fears. That is one of the reasons they remain unreachable. Another thing is shame. Okay, some people are ashamed of their debts. I keep telling people, do you know how many millionaires and billionaires are into debts? Are you checking the news to see people going on bankruptcy, companies going on liquidation, big companies that are being bought out because of debt issues? Another thing is mental depression. They call and send messages and send threats and send mails. They think toy with their mental well-being. They just decide to just become unreachable. They change their line, change their email. So let me even rest. It's somebody that is alive that can pay money, right? So that's one reason people, try to hide from the financial obligation. Another thing is harassment, constant harassment. Okay, so there's this debt restructuring that I'm handling, and recently the debt collectors went to the man's house and sat there and did not allow the man to go out. That is harassment. Okay, because if he does not go out to work, how will he get money? You get. So harassment makes these people to run away. Another thing is defamation. We see it all the time. Then irresponsibility. Yes, I'm saying these things against your creditors, but some debtors that you are watching me right now, some of you are irresponsible. You are owing 100,000, 10,000 gets to your hand, you spend everything and say 150K is coming, 100K is coming. When that big money come, I'll start making payment. No, you owe 100K, somebody gives you 10K or you get 10K. Make plan to make payments out of that 10K. Make payments for that 100K, no matter how small. So there's something I tell people in debt restructuring. What your creditors, what your lenders are after is that something is coming into your debit account. It's not reading red. Even if it's not reading green, it's reading yellow. There are colors in debt recovery and credit risk. So colors mean different things. All right. Then there is another thing they become unreachable is lack of concrete plan to pay. So some people from the day one that they take a loan, they don't have a plan to pay. So if you're about to apply for a loan or you have applied, I have a little guide that is called Dear Loan Applicant, 5 things to note and do before and after you apply for a loan. It will guide you. What are the things you need to know about loan? How do you apply for a loan? What are the things you need to put in place? What are the things you should now do after you've applied for a loan? Some people don't have a concrete plan to pay. Your plan of how to pay a loan should come before you start applying. You should have had a written down, well structured, well analyzed payment framework. All right. What exactly is the solution now? The solution is for you to face your debt fears. Nobody's going to shoot you for owing. That is the truth. Nobody's going to put knife on your neck except you got yourself entangled in some criminal activities with some gang. But if it is a loan from a bank, nobody's going to shoot you. If they shoot you, how will you pay the money? Face your debt fears. How do you do that? You actually would need a proper planning for an expert guide on how to properly plan, on how to pay, and how to approach your creditors. You don't just pick up your phone and say rather, GTB, I'm owing people. This is how I want to pay. There are tactics, there are strategies, there are protocols. Now, this is what the debt-free webinar is all about. The debt-free webinar is a live debt management teaching on how to properly analyze your debt issues, draw out a new debt repayment schedule, and how you can approach your creditor to successfully negotiate the acceptance of this new debt repayment plan and pay off the debt so that you can be absolutely debt free. The interesting part about this debt free webinar, why it is absolutely why it is a big deal, is it is strictly for those that are owing, whether in personal or business capacity, whether you took a personal loan or a business loan. It is for you if you are about to apply for a loan, you have applied and gotten a loan, or you are about to apply for a loan. So it's also for you if you're a loan applicant, or you just got a loan, or you are about to apply for a loan. It's very important. In fact, either you're about to apply or you just applied, you should hop in right away. Now, what you will learn during the debt free webinar: how to properly analyze your debt issues. I think I've said that. How to make plans for payment and draw out a new debt repayment plan using my WOFA strategy. I call it the precious Toju WOFA strategy on how you can draw out a workable, feasible, and achievable debt repayment plan. That's what WOFA stands for. Then how to approach your creditor and successfully negotiate a new debt repayment plan. And a bonus outline that you're going to learn. You have a proper understanding of your legal rights and liabilities as a debtor. The debt-free webinar is coming up next week, Sunday. That is the 28th of January this year, and it is by 7 p.m. West African time. It is a live webinar. And the most important thing about this debt-free webinar is it is the only webinar that I have in a year. So this debt-free webinar is only once. I hold it once in a year because it is the cheapest of my webinar. Now, yesterday, a colleague from my institute asked me how much is my webinar. I said 5,000. He said, "My God, that is so cheap with what you want to, teach." I said yes, because I know people that are not really owing much, and people that even if you're owing 100 million, this webinar you're going to learn a lot. And I know people that really want to come in for this webinar. Last year, I think I made it 25,000 or so. A lot of people could not afford this. I moved it down. And that is why I hold it once in a year, because it is the only webinar that is cheap and I pour out my heart in teaching. If you had paid attention to this live section, I'm sure you would have learned a whole lot. Now imagine me coming in a private webinar to teach you in depth about this, how to be debt free. Okay. And the reason why she contacted me, because she's holding a webinar and I'm going to be one of the facilitators. I'm going to be one of the people that is going to teach. And I can tell you how much I charge to teach for just 30, I think 30 or 45 minutes. I'm not going to be the only facilitator there. There are others. And she was just wondering, why is it so cheap? That is why I hold it once in a year. It is the cheapest. If you know that you are currently owing, whether as a person or as a business, or you have just collected a loan, or you are about to apply for a loan, or you just applied for a loan, get in right now and sign up for the debt-free webinar so that you can learn how to properly manage this debt. Because once you take a loan, it becomes a debt. Yes, once it has been. I think for those of you that did not attend my live section last week, go and watch it. I talked about when does debt arise. Once you have taken a loan, if you applied for a loan today and I give you that loan by 5 o'clock, and by 6 p.m. you come to say, "Oh, it was a mistake, I no longer need it." You're going to pay back with interest. So once a loan has been exchanged from the creditor to the debtor, to the loan applicant, because at that time you are not a debtor, you are a loan applicant. All right, it becomes a debt. So you are no longer a loan applicant. You graduate from loan applicant to what? A debtor. All right. So the kind of debtor that you are now depends on how you make payment or you don't make payment. All right. Thank you guys for joining. There is no question in the comment section. I want to believe that everybody got one or two things, learned one or two things today. And for those of you, I'm 4 minutes behind. That's why I'm rushing. So, Mr. Emmanuel Effiong, I'm so sorry. I tried to bring you up, but Facebook now that they're just doing different things this year of no grief for anybody. Facebook said don't want to grief for us. We will not grieve for it because they're chopping our data and our airtime and all of that. Thank you guys for joining. The link to the debt free webinar is in my bio if you're on Instagram, and it's on the screen if you're on Facebook. What you need to do is to click on that link icon on the screen and register. The webinar is coming up next week, Sunday, 7 p.m., when you are well relaxed, your brain has settled so that you can understand properly, assimilate what I'm going to teach, digest it well, and put it into practice. And remember, in this year 2024, do all that you can to remain absolutely debt free. All right, see you guys next week on another Ask Lawyer Precious Friday show. Thank you. God bless you. Bye bye.